If your entire family starred in a horror movie together, would it end up being a comedy or a real nightmare? What's going on, people? I'm Travis, and this is the Final Cut, your daily pulse in horror. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, and we're officially in South by Southwest Travel Week. So the countdown to Austin is on. In just a couple of days, we'll be heading down for screenings, interviews, and festival coverage. So expect some big updates coming out of Texas soon. But before we get into today's stories, let's dive into our lovely sponsors. First up, quick shout out to our friends over at Grove. March Movie Madness is still rolling throughout the entire month with rotating deals. Right now, you can pre-order the horror classic The Haunting, arriving May 26 in 4K, HD, and Blu-ray. There's also a limited edition 4K steelbook for The Bride, available for pre-order now. No release date yet, but if you saw it this past weekend, let us know what you thought about the film in the comments. Over at Fanatical, Bundle Fest continues with several RPG and gaming deals. Paranoia XP RPG Collection is available through April 29th. Shadow Dark RPG Adventures Bundle also through April 29th. And then Mystery Star Bundle will be ending April 1st. And you can build your own arcade and shooter bundle. As for upcoming releases, Marathon is right now available with 14% off. Monster Hunter 3 drops when we're down in Texas this Friday, along with Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake. Both of those arrive March 12th. And Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, that's right, starring Norman Reedus, launches on March 19th. You can check out all these deals by clicking the banners over at hmuNcut.com. That is the website. All right, let's jump into today's horror news. First up, it's been a wonderful long run by Joe Bob Briggs in The Last Drive-In. Big shout out to him, the crew, everyone. But guess what, drive-in fans? You can breathe easy. Why? Because even though The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs aired its season's finale on Friday, the show's spirit is far from over. Shudder has officially announced 4 brand new Joe Bob Briggs specials that will air quarterly through the end of 2026. The announcement comes right as the show wraps up its 7-year run with a final double feature broadcast. The format that helped make it one of the most beloved modern horror programs, right? Joe Bob Briggs and the lovely Darcy the Mail Girl will still be hosting the upcoming specials, keeping the tradition alive for the fan base affectionately known as the Drive-In Mutants. The first of those events will be Joe Bob's Wicked Witchy Wendig, premiering April 24th. It's my mom's birthday. Big shout out to mom. As part of Shudder's Halfway to Halloween programming. And the theme? Clearly, occult horror, specifically tied to Walpurgisnacht, the European folklore celebration associated with witches. Now, y'all know I be jacking names up, so do not expect me to get that right the first time, and I'm not about to redo this over and over again, so I'm sorry. Sorry for the folks in that town. I love y'all. Y'all gonna be all right. I gotta say it again, so bear with me. Joe Bob has been campaigning for years to run Walpurgisnacht into a full-blown American horror holiday, and now it looks like he might finally be getting his wish. So I guess it's a witch holiday, right? So here's today's question for you guys. Do horror fans still need a drive-in host like Joe Bob Briggs in the streaming era? You know, I was really thinking about this because I've been on YouTube, and even if you go on like IMDb and you search TV shows, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you will always see in the horror, there has actually been a lot more like late night curated shows that have been around, you know, more than I think we give it credit for. We talk about this stuff like it's a forgotten time, but there's still some people that's out there doing it. But I do feel like what Joe Bob Briggs and all those guys did was something special. And I feel like if Shudder would have popped that out on like YouTube or something, while it was live, instead of forcing people to have Shudder, it would be bigger than ever right now. But hey, those are the breaks, right? We'll have to see what happens from here, but I expect some kid somewhere, some young man or woman is right now devising the streaming version of that show. So I would not be surprised, but let me know what you guys think in the comments ahead. Next up, a horror movie pairing you probably didn't expect. Now, you guys are going to know these people way more than me. I have never watched the Hallmark channel. I think I've had it on the background in the gym during Christmas season, but I know I got a lot of clients that love those Hallmark Christmas movies. So, this one's for you guys, right? Two Hallmark channel stars are stepping into the genre with a new supernatural thriller called Rabisu, Curse of the Demon. The film stars Hunter King and Wes Brown, who previously appeared together in a Hallmark project, but this time the tone is very different. In Rabisu, a group of social media ghost hunters explore a warehouse packed with strange objects and ritualistic clutter. So is this like Hallmark trying to do like grave encounters? Like, what's going on here? Inside the building, they encounter a djinn. Oh, okay. So they went outside of America. A supernatural entity capable of possession, shifting architecture, and turning friends into violent threats. As the group tries to escape, the environment itself begins changing around them. The film is the directorial debut of Chris Copier, and it will hit VOD streaming platforms April 3rd. The project taps into a mix of Islamic folklore mythology and modern influencer culture, which is a pretty interesting blend, and it's kind of starting to become a little bit more popular. Not necessarily with jinns, but of course with the influencers in the supernatural. There's definitely one thing that horror keeps reminding us is that content creators chasing viral moments usually end up getting eaten by demons. My question for you guys though, would you watch a horror movie about social media ghost hunters, or has that trope been done too many times? Let me know your thoughts in the comments ahead. And honestly, I got a feeling they got a fan base, so there's going to be some people watching it. Now, I don't know if those Hallmark people are going to stay watching horror films. Maybe we can get Cameron, what's-her-face from Full House to watch it, because I know she's got a problem with watching some horror films. So maybe the ones done by the Hallmark people would be a little bit more up her alley, because I think she has movies on there also. But I don't know. We'll see. And finally, today, horror is keeping it all in the family. A new meta horror comedy called Family Movie is premiering this week right down in lovely Texas at South by Southwest. And it stars Kevin Bacon, Kyra Sedgwick, and their real-life children, Susie and Travis Bacon. Do they pronounce that Susie, or is it Sosie? The film was directed by Kevin Bacon himself and written by Dan Beers. That's not a hard name to get. Bacon and Beers. That's like, whose restaurant is that? If it's not one, you guys owe me money. The story follows a struggling indie horror filmmaker trying to shoot what might be his last movie. His wife, daughter, and son join the production to help him finish the project. But as things spiral when the family begins realizing that the mother might actually have more in common with the killers in the films than anyone expected. So yep, it's a horror movie about a family making a horror movie played by an actual family making a horror movie. Meta levels, extreme high, all over the place. The film premieres March 13th, South by Southwest. I'll be standing in line for that one, which means it's one of the projects we'll be keeping an eye on. I got like an interview and then that film, and then I'll be at Tokyo Calling for Infants and Rijay and all the Japanese wonderful musicians that are playing down there. So this kind of genre-aware horror comedy has been doing really well with festival crowds lately, so it should do good work down there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bacon and them are down there, because he's just much of a movie fan as he is in films. My question for you guys, though, is do you prefer your horror movies completely serious or with a little bit of comedy mixed in? Let me know your answers in the comments ahead. Today's take. What's interesting about today's stories is how horror continues evolving across completely different spaces. You've got classic drive-in horror culture with Joe Bob Briggs, streaming era found footage ghost hunters in Rabisu, and meta horror filmmaking satire in Family Movie. Three very different tones, but they all show how flexible horror really is. And as we head into festival season, especially South by Southwest, we're about to see a lot more of those genre experiments popping up. Now it's time for today's Spotify poll question. Which project are you most interested in? Joe Bob Briggs specials, Rabisu Curse of the Demon, Family Movie, something else entirely? And if you hear about a horror story before we do, send it our way. DM us at HMUNCUT, and your tip could end up featured on the show. That's today's episode of The Final Cut, your daily post in horror. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, follow the show so you don't miss the next episode. We got one more this week, folks, and then we got to hit that road and travel. So we'll see you tomorrow. More updates, more headlines, more news from South by Southwest and more. Until then, you guys know the drill. I'm Travis, and as always, keep the lights on.